Thank you, everyone, for taking your time to be with us this evening as we welcome our very special guest, Renee Powell. For those of you who may not know, our First Tee Central Ohio Girls Golf Program received the Renee Powell grant this past year. This is a grant from the LPGA, who created the fund to honor Renee. And the fund is designed to encourage more Black girls from Black communities to play golf. So we will be hosting our in-person Renee Powell Day in May. So stay tuned for more information on that. And audience, we want to let you know that you are more than welcome. Renee is dying to hear from you. You are more than welcome to type in questions in the Q&A. And that's about it. So let's get started. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of Renee. She is a Black female professional golfer. She has over 50 years experience in golf. She started learning to play golf with her dad as a young girl. She went on to play on the LPGA Tour. Then she went into business as a business owner in the golf profession. And she's recently been nationally recognized as one of LPGA's top teachers. She has not left many, if any, stone unturned in the golf business, in the golf world, I should say. So, Renee, welcome, and we are looking forward to hearing from you, and we just want you to share some tidbits with us on your incredible journey.
Well, thank you, Denise, and it's a joy to be here with everybody too, and I hope we have lots of everybody's listening, they have their ears open, and they have lots of questions to ask of me. I appreciate you saying that I have been in golf for 50 years. I hate to tell you, I've been in professional golf for over 50 years. It sounded really good. You say, well, I started when I was 3 in golf, you know. I could say I started when I was 3 in professional golf or something. But, you know, golf has been my entire life, actually. And I did start, my dad first put a golf club in my hand when I was 3 years old. And amazingly, I still have that golf club. And it's, I should have brought it on tonight to show everybody, because it's only about that big, you know, but it's a wood. So it wasn't a plastic club, but it was a regular wood head and a steel shaft. And the face is a little bit rough now because, you know, when you're 3 and 4 years old, you don't exactly hit only golf balls, but sometimes it's, you know, maybe a little stones and rocks and things like that, but it's still in pretty decent shape. And, you know, I'm so proud of the fact that I still have that golf club. And, you know, and I know a lot of kids start playing tournament golf when they're young. I got probably serious about the game when I was 10 years old and didn't play my first tournament until I was 12. And some kids play even, you know, younger than that. My brother played his first tournament when he was 8 years old. But from those days on, you know, golf has been my total life. And I've been able to do things from playing junior golf to playing collegiate golf, where I, you know, went to Ohio University and also to the Ohio State University. And from there, you know, a lot of amateurs, the U.S. amateur, and actually I played the U.S. women's amateur and the U.S. junior girls when I was 16 years old. And then I think the following year played the U.S. Women's Open and qualified for that. So I've been playing golf for a long time. And so, you know, but golf has opened up this huge world to me from those early days to, you know, playing the tour and traveling, you know, the world just with this stick, having a stick and hitting a ball. That's pretty good, isn't it? When you can travel all over the world and even people, presidents of countries want to play with you because you know how to hit this ball with this stick better than they do. So my life has been interesting. I mean, I've been able to do some commentating with, done some work with ABC and CBS in the past. I've written golf articles. I designed golf clothes for a major fashion house in London, England, and served as the actually the first female golf professional to play on equal terms, or they would say on level tees, with the male professionals in a tournament in England, because I was there. I was the first female head golf professional at a private club in the United Kingdom. And so I was able, because I was a member of the British PGA at one time when I lived in England, and was able to play in this tournament against the guys. And I'm like, gosh, somebody put me up to this. And it was like, wow, the first day. And I was hitting the ball very long then. And over in England, they have a lot, these very pretty flowering plants called heather. And heather is very thick. And the only way you can get out of it is you take a wedge and you grip down on it and swing as hard as you possibly can to get it to the fairway. But I was hitting the ball really long then, and just to get to the fairways, it was long. We were back on the tips. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm hitting driver into these par threes, and I'm a long hitter anyway. But it was interesting. It was because I was a member of the British PGA. I was the head teaching professional at this golf club, and so I was entitled to play. So they put me up, and I did.
Good, girl power.
That's right, girl power way back then. So, you know, golf, as I say, golf has taken me all over the world. So I'm sure that there are lots of questions out there, and you all have questions, and I'd love for you to ask me.
So I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of the questions that we've got already from some of the girls. So Lauren, one of our girls that have been with us for several years, said she's in the 4th grade, and last week she read in her Ohio Study Weekly newsletter about you, Renee. Ooh. And she said that she knew, or it said that there was a building named after you at the University of St. Andrews. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. You know, I received this phone call one day, and a lot of things happen, and I get a phone call and people ask me questions, and I'm like, what is this? So I got a phone call from the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. And their question was, we have a question to ask you, and you can't say no. And I'm like, okay, what's this question? So they said, we're building a residence hall, and we want to name it the Renee Powell Hall. So we want to name it for you. So you have to allow us to do that. And I'm like, what? They chose to do that. And it's it's what 204 room suites, and they're single suites. It's a beautiful building, and anybody, if you type in the University of St. Andrews, and behind that type in Powell Hall, you'll see my building. But the amazing thing is that it is it's the only building that in the university is over 600 years old, and our country is a little over 200 years old, right? So, and it's actually the 3rd oldest university in the English speaking world, behind Cambridge and Oxford. And it's where Prince William and Kate met and went to school. And I said, I'm still waiting for a wedding invitation since I'm an alum of the university, and I haven't gotten that. So maybe I will get something when he becomes king, But anyway, so this building, and I went over in 2018 to unveil the building. And so I'm so grateful and so proud of the fact that the University of St. Andrews, in the home of golf, because there's not another building named for a golfer or for an American.
Very good. Rosie said she's 9 years old and she is just starting out to golf. She wants to know if it's too late for her to start golfing, which I say no, but where should she start?
Oh my goodness. So I hope that she gets into one of the girls' golf programs around, and that's the best way to start. And everybody is so fortunate now. Let's see, is 9 too old to start? Let me see now. She's been on the earth for 9 years, right? Oh my gosh, what a great year. What a great age to start the game and to build on that. And she can play forever now. But if she gets into a LPGA USGA Girls Golf Club program, or I know there are first tee programs too, but I'm a girls golf person. So if you get into the LPGA USGA Girls Golf Club program, and you'll find other little girls that are enjoying and loving the game just as much as she is. And I think it will help her along. And so I'm sure that somebody can reach out to her, or she can reach out to somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Betsy wants to know what was your biggest hurdle that you faced when you transitioned from amateur golf to professional golf? And then back then, were you able to make a living off of your prize winnings during that time?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Great question, Betsy. The biggest transition. Well, I'll say this. When I was traveling and when I was in junior golf, my dad traveled with me all the time and he would drive me. Okay. And then when I got out of the junior ranks, he told my mom to go. And so my mom would drive me. I never drove. They would always say, oh, you need to save your energy. You sit back and relax. So then I turned professional and I'm by myself. Well, the car's not going to run on its own. So I'm driving me. So the things that going from amateur golf, which was sort of fun, in a way, but it was serious, serious enough when you're looking at the next step. But then going from amateur golf to professional golf, where everything was you're totally on your own. My parents weren't with me then, and you have to make decisions on your own. I guess it's a little bit like going from high school to college, where you have a family there, and then you go away to college, and they're not there, and you have to make your own decisions. You have to be very disciplined. You have to pick your own time, because in golf, you don't, if you're an individual playing in something, you don't have you're not on a big team, in certain, unless you're, playing collegiate golf or high school golf or something, but generally it's an individual sport. And so you've got to decide how much time you're going to put into practice, how much, divide your day up everybody only has 24 hours in all of our days. And so you have to divide them up. You have to make sure your nutrition is right, that you're getting adequate sleep, and that you have good stamina. So it's all of the things. And then too, it's all the thank you letters from one stop to the next, the people that you've met the week before. And then you have to do your laundry. So you're going out to laundromats and things like that. So it's all these things that you never thought about, or you did, but you didn't have to do them. I always had my parents doing them for me. And all of a sudden I'm like, this is it.
So you were the second African-American woman to play on the LPGA. Can you tell us, how can golf be more welcoming, or how can we get more Black women and girls involved with golf?
Yeah, and you're right. I was the second after Althea Gibson, who was a great tennis player. She's a world-class tennis player. She won Wimbledon, the French Open, the US Open. And because at the time, tennis was an amateur sport, so she wasn't making money in that. So she took up golf and joined the LPGA tour, and she was such a great athlete that she was able to make that transition. It's being out there. There's all sorts of challenges, of course, and you just have to know how to face those challenges. And I don't know. It was sometimes a little bit difficult. Being only the second African American or the second Black person on the LPGA tour, because at that time we're looking at the late 60s and the early 70s, and there were so many different things happening in our world. So there were a lot of challenges that I had to go through besides just playing the game of golf.
Right.
Let's see. Here's a good one. Jennifer wants to know, what advice would you give to someone to tell themselves after they've hit a bad shot?
It's history, and just like here, we've been on here, and Jennifer, right?
Uh-huh.
We've been on everything that we said right now. It's all history, never to be relived again. And so you have to be able to, you hit a bad shot, that's one shot. You're not going to, the 18-hole round of golf is more than one shot, or a 9-hole round of golf is more than one shot. And so you really do have to be able to eventually learn that, that is, you've got to forget about that. And then you have to move on to the next, because you have to then be in the present for the next shot that you're going to hit. And a lot of times, the interesting thing is you watch a person sometimes in amateurs, and they will really mess up on a hole, getting to the green. And when they get to the green, they invariably 3-putt, because they've been thinking about those other bad shots that they hit and they haven't dropped it. And then they've added another stroke, at least 1 or 2 onto their score that they could have done without, had they really gotten to themselves then and sort of said, okay, that's a bad shot. Hey, everybody hits bad shots, right? There's no perfect round of golf ever. And so, that is one. And then and I've always looked at it, well, I've got 14 golf clubs in my bag. We're allowed 14 clubs, right? So I've got 1 club here that's going to get me out of whatever trouble I got into. And plus the fact that I'm the one that did it, so I'm the one they have to get out of it. And so you just have to be very positive and not allow yourself to labor on that bad shot.
So to go on that, we have Katie said that she started golfing at 9, and she's 11 now. So she's not very good with the driver. And you have come so far in your journey that you're still showing your love of golf. How do you get past those small things where you have a bad day practicing, or these young kids are just fed up with golf and move on, that it's going to still be good the next day?
Wow. Well, and it's hard sometimes when you're younger, because you think that, gosh, you've lived a long time and they haven't, and I guess the thing is, we don't know what we don't know. And you have to be golf. The one thing golf teaches us is patience. You can't rush shots. You can't rush your thoughts, and you really need to be at try to keep yourself on an even keel. The thing is, you can't get too high and too excited. And you can't get too low. And the thing is, try to keep a nice even balance. So, sometimes if you may practice, and sometimes you might have to take a little bit of a break. Or if you're practicing one type of shot, you may want to go off and do something else, and I think one thing about hitting the driver, we put that driver, that golf club in our hand, and we think that, okay, this is the club that's supposed to send the ball the furthest distance, right? And, I watch especially older males, and I watch them on the first hole, and I'm seeing these beautiful practice swings, right? And then all of a sudden they stand up to hit the ball, and it's like somebody else has inhabited their body, and this weird swing, and it's like, where did that come from? And they're falling off of it and everything. So and a lot of times I would say, okay, so the way you hit your 7-iron, and the one thing is that when you look at the pros, if anybody goes to any golf tournaments, you want to go out in the practice range, and that's where you want to watch, either on the putting green or the practice range, and see what sort of routines and what sort of things the golf professionals are doing. And I know that they'll practice maybe with a 7-iron or a 6-iron to get a nice smooth balance and equal, because you're hitting it, you're making a full swing, but you're not putting extra pressure on to it. But when people put a driver in their hand, they change. And so it's thinking, okay, the same swing that you make with a 7-iron, the same swing you make with a 6-iron, and not try to overswing.
Christina, one of our girls golf participants, wants to know, how do you improve your mental game? Just kind of all around improve your mental game. And then are there certain books that you know of that could help you with that?
Oh, how old is Christina?
13 maybe?
12, 13, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of different books that are written, but I don't know what level they would, need to be on. But yeah, I mean, golf is far more mental than it is physical. And I think that it's just like if you are, in school and, you know, and you're studying for a test or something, or you're focusing on something, you know, we have to focus on golf when you're out there. And it's the same thing on the working, you know, working on your mental attitude in any place. And it's just a lot of discipline in what you're doing. And it takes a while. It's probably the hardest thing to do. It's easier to look at ourselves physically than it is to think of ourselves mentally and really trying to stay disciplined at something. I think, you know, getting yourself a nice little practice schedule, getting a routine in what she's doing. And I think that's also going to help in practicing mentally what she needs to do.
Okay.
Okay, I have one from one of our coaches, Coach Carolyn. She has joined our girls golf program this year and been an incredible asset. And she is asking, as an African-American woman who's played almost 28 plus years, she first of all wanted to thank you for being a role model and a pioneer. She's hoping to play your course in Clearview in the near future, as we all are, so we might need a coach's trip for that. But she wants to know if you have any tips on owning a successful golf course.
On owning a course. Well, I would say that if you want to play a lot of golf, I guess you don't want to own a course. You know, it's a lot of work. And if you're going to own a golf course, you know, and I certainly, I sort of fell into it as my parents sort of left and went heaven-wise. But, you know, I would probably never have thought about purchasing a golf course, only because I know there is so much to it. I mean, it is a business. And sometimes it can be that, you know, if you enjoy something a lot, it can turn both ways. It may be that you're not able to do it as much as you would like to. A lot of times, you know, people, especially guys, a lot of times they decide to turn professional so they can play a lot of golf. They find themselves playing less golf and working more or teaching more. So it's dividing one's day up. But thank goodness, you know, we're celebrating 75 years of this golf course since my dad first built the golf course, which is a long time. It's a major milestone. And I'm just, you know, when I think of it and the fact that this is incredible legacy and such a significant part of American history that oftentimes not a lot of people knew about it. And I know Golf Channel's been running a couple of stories the last couple of days about my dad, and I've had people contacting me from Canada, Ireland, and all over the United States because they just heard about the story and are just so moved by it. So being in the golf course business, so I mean, I love golf. I totally love golf, and I've not done anything else other than being within golf. I mean, it might be teaching or it might be designing or writing or commentating or competing, but it's all golf. And I've had some of my best friends that I've known since one of my good friends, Sandra Post, who is a Canadian player. We met our first year when we were 16 years old, playing in the USGA Junior Girls Championship tournament. We played a practice round together. And then we said, oh, if we ever I'm 16, she was 14 though, and I was 16. She said, if we ever go on tour, we'll room together. And sure enough, we both went on tour. We both roomed together. And we talk every week now. She's still up in Canada, but and she's still doing a lot in golf and in every Hall of Fame, sports Hall of Fame up there. But you know, we're able to, you know, to continue a relationship and continue everything in golf.
Can you, Coach Sue wants, she's one of our volunteers. Can you kind of talk about your grant program from the Renee Powell Foundation and kind of what you hope
to achieve through your grant?
Okay. All right. So, and the interesting thing is I found out about it sort of late, but the LPGA, you know, a lot of things have been going on and everybody's been trying to do more and more things when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the LPGA certainly has wanted to do that. And couple of young pros, Morgan Pressel and a couple of others, decided to get together to raise some funds to go into our Black communities to get more Black girls into the game of golf. And then along with that, the LPGA decided that what they also then wanted to do was to honor me, who's been a member for a few decades. So, and they found that that was a great way of being able to honor me. And I've been doing LPGA girls golf programs for over 20 years anyway. So, you know, and I was very pleasantly surprised that, you know, all these different things were happening. They just sort of happened all at once. And so as I'm in the state of Ohio, they decided that what they wanted to do was to give different girls golf club programs in the state of Ohio first, as this is my home state. So what I mean, my hope then is that the percentage of Black girls in our LPGA girls golf club programs is very low. I mean, percentage is less than 10%. And so we need to up that percentage because we need to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to play the game. The reason my dad built this golf course was when he came back from Scotland and England during World War II, he wasn't welcome. He played golf over there. He was welcome, you know, and every little town in England and Scotland has a golf course. And so the members would let him borrow their golf clubs, or else he would borrow golf clubs from the Red Cross, and they would let him use their golf courses. And when he came back, he found out he wasn't welcome. But my dad always had a belief that everybody should have the same opportunity to play the game of golf, which he discovered when he was 9. And he fell in love with it. He played for 84 years of his life. And so the thing I think with what I am hoping is that we have a groundswell of more young ladies and more young ladies of color, Black girls who also know that they can go out and they can play this game. And when they see somebody that looks like me and that I look like them, they realize that, hey, I can do this. I'm not going to be the first one ever to play this game of golf, right? And I'm not going to be embarrassed to play it. And sometimes when you don't see somebody out there that looks like you, you're a little bit intimidated to go out to do it. So my thing is that we are going to reach out to young girls that would like to play, that would like an opportunity to play, and that we give them that opportunity to participate in this beautiful game of golf that we all love.
Perfect. And along that lines, I want to ask a question from Priya. Priya, oh, you're going to love this, Renee.
I love her name, Priya.
Priya just got on the LPGA's e-leader board of directors. Like, she's one of 5 girls that's going to be on the national board for girls golf.
Oh, wow.
One of our e-leaders. I thought that was so cool, from Central Ohio. So we're going to be represented well. So we're excited about that. So she wants to know, along the lines of what you were just talking about, what would you say, what advice would you have to an inner city girl who sees golf as a sport dominated by wealthy white men?
Mm-hmm.
And along that line, on your answer, what steps can we take to involve more women, especially women and minorities, in the sport, in golf?
And, you know, and the thing is that people do think of, you know, this is just a rich white man's sport. And the thing is, you know, if you're driving along and you go past a golf course, so often all you see are white males. And you don't see, and you think that that's all that plays golf. You don't see women, you don't see juniors. Often you don't see people of color, people that look like me, right? And she's right, for an inner city youngster would never think that they would be allowed to or able to play the game, because we haven't always been as welcoming. And it's up to, you know, all of those things start with adults, and adults being sensitive. You know, adults weren't just all of a sudden didn't plop down and be adults. They were children too. You know, they grew up, and everybody didn't grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth, right? And even a lot of times those who now have silver spoons didn't always grow up that way. So we just have to be sensitive to individuals. And, I always look at this as, my parents would say, God created everyone and God created you and God loves you and we love you. Because I first had my bout of racism and discrimination when I was only 8 years old. And so in the 3rd grade, at the age of 8, it was the worst year of my entire life in school. It was so bad with teachers and children. My parents had to take me out of the school in my area and go into another school district where my church, St. Benedict's, had a school. So, you have to find people, mentors, teachers, whomever, who have to be guidance counselors who help you along too. And so it's really up to adults to be adults and to teach and to educate children and our youth. Because, a little kid doesn't know, but adults, we know. And so we need to be able to bring them along. And it's going to make, the more we educate, the more we do, the better our entire world is.
Mm-hmm.
So, that young lady needs to find somebody, talk to a teacher, talk to somebody, and find out where a golf program is and where a golf program is that will teach young girls. Find out where maybe the nearest LPGA girls golf program is. There's, I think, 496 around the country. So, that's where that's where you have to connect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
So outside of golf and growing up, now and growing up, what do you do in your free time instead of golf? And then growing up, did you play any other sports that helped you prepare or just got your mind off of golf?
I have to laugh because I'm trying to figure out what free time I have. This is my free time right now. And I have a meeting after you guys, and I had one just before you guys. So my free time is very limited right now, especially as we're getting ready to celebrate our 75th anniversary of Clearview, But in growing up, I started playing golf when I was 3. Fortunately, there were other sports in high school. I mean, I played volleyball. I grew up playing half-court basketball, So I played basketball. and we had archery at my school. So I did different things. I ran track, because I love sports and I love the outdoors. But golf was something that really consumed my entire life. Through as a youngster and I mean, when I would go off and play in tournaments when I was in elementary school, but nobody in the school knew that I played golf until they read it in the newspaper, But so golf has really been something that's been my entire life. But I love and I appreciate all sports.
So what's your favorite golf club?
My favorite golf club, the club itself.
The number,
The number? Well, you know what? I figure this way. You have to like them all because you never know when you're going to lose, when you're going to have to use them. And I want them all to know me and to like me. So I don't necessarily, I think when I was growing up, like 8-iron, 7-iron, they were my favorite clubs. But as I continue to grow, I realized that I had to like every single one of those clubs. And back in my day, I carried a 2-iron and played with a 2-iron and a 3-iron. They don't even make them in sets today. But yeah, so a golf club is a golf club is a golf club. You want to like all 14.
Do you have a favorite golf course that you like to play? And then also, have you played Muirfield Village here in the Columbus area?
You know what? I have never played Muirfield Village. I've been down there, never played it. Of course, Clearview is my favorite golf course because there's so many different reasons. And then I do like I've been able to and fortunate to play the old course at St. Andrews. And I would say that is probably my next favorite course because I really like history, and I think about, oh my gosh, all these people that have walked the same path and these same fairways before me. It goes back, the you know, people that have not been around for years and years and years, you know, but, and you know, when you first go to St. Andrews and you look, you say, what's it all about? It's all flat and everything, you know? And then all of a sudden, if your ball disappears, you don't see bunkers, but if your ball disappears, it's in a bunker, and there's one bunker that has a ladder in it, you know, and it's just, it's amazing, you know, and it's just, you know, it's, yeah, I like history.
And then what I want to ask this, one of our girls wants to know, is it scary playing against other people?
Oh, no, you know what? Because when you're playing with other people, you're not really playing against them. You really, and if you look at the fact that you're playing against the golf course, you're playing against that scorecard, then that takes all the scariness out of it. You know,
Good answer.
the scorecard can't talk to you. It has these numbers. Sometimes you think it's talking to you. So, you know, if you could, so you're out there, you're playing the game. And the nice thing is that you can play golf with other people. You may be competing, you know, you might be in the same tournament competing against them, but as long as you are looking at that scorecard and that's what you're focusing on, then it's not scary. Although I will say this, my very first tournament, oh my gosh, I remember it well because I was only 12 years old and there was a junior tournament coming up in Dayton, Ohio, like, oh, what, 2 weeks later than this one tournament. But I'd never played competition. And so my dad put me in a tournament. It was Cleveland, Ohio, and I played in it. But rather than playing in, I mean, they had a junior division for boys and a junior division for girls and one for women and one for men and one for pros. And my dad decided to get me competition to put me in a tournament in the division with the women and not with the juniors. My very first tournament. So she asked, that young lady asked if it was scary. That was scary because I was out there. Now, mind you, I didn't know how to swim. I was 12 years old. I'm playing with these women that are the age of my parents. And we got to the third hole and they threatened to throw me in this lake. And they were talking among themselves, not directly to me, but they were talking about, because I was beating them. And, and so my dad always said, when you get them 1 down, get them 2 down. When you get them 2 down, get them 3 down. You know, and I was out there playing hard, right? And so, and they were just talking away. And so I beat them. But that was my dad's way of getting me competition. And I was like so scared of these women, right? Listening to them talk about me. Oh my gosh. But then afterwards, they had a lot of respect for me too. And they used to call me the baby all the time, you know. But, and they pulled for me after that, after I beat them all. But yeah, that was interesting. And I will say this, I went back to that same course 30 years later to see that hole and that lake that they were going to throw me in. You know, I was a little girl and I was, you know, as I say, I couldn't swim. And I drove the cart and I came upon it. It was a little pond.
Perspective.
Your dad had all the confidence in the world in you.
He did.
So we have one last question to wrap it up, and I think this is perfect ending. What legacy do you want to leave that goes beyond the wonderful things you've already done?
Oh gosh, you know, it's really funny because when you're 20 years old or 30 years old or 40 years old, nobody asks you about legacies or you're not inducted to Hall of Fames or anything, right? So what legacy do I want to leave? You know, I just want to leave the fact for people to enjoy the game, that I've been able to help people, to teach them what I know about the game of golf, to allow them to enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed it. And I think all of that, you know, gets to the point where you're leaving, you know, pieces of the world much better, you know? So as long as people can enjoy it, and it's not always about the competition. You know, I obviously played at the highest level of competition. However, the biggest thing about this game of golf is the enjoyment of the game. And I think that's too what I want to leave with people.
Oh, Renee, this has been amazing. I tell you, we could keep you for an hour easy and just feed on your stories and your energy. We can't thank you enough for taking your time, your free time, to spend with us.
My free time.
Yeah, we're so appreciative of this. This has been so great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope that I answered questions that even those who didn't ask, you know, were able to get, you know, to understand. So.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, we're going to have this as a recording. So,
okay.
So we can, we'll send you a copy, of course. And
wonderful.
And girls, everybody can have an opportunity to see it again. That way, if there are questions they needed to go back over, they have that ability. But before I have two quick announcements. One is this Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Guess who you have an opportunity to see? Renee Powell. She is going to be on the Women in Sports Report. And we have a free ticket. So this is an event that you have to pay for. It's going to be online. And Erin Andrews is going to be the host of it. And Renee is going to be one of their featured, breakout speakers. So that's going to be this Tuesday at 12 o'clock. Send us an email if you would like to be on there, because we have a free ticket for you. Otherwise, it's $50, I think. Second, we have our last girls golf session for winter, and that is going to be next Thursday, a week from tonight, and it's going to be our arts and crafts show and tell. So even if you did not do an arts and crafts, that's okay. You'll probably be with Coach Denise and Coach Erica and Coach Sue. So if you did not do an arts and crafts, that's okay. You can help us judge other arts and crafts. And please be on, because we have all kinds of surprises for you next Thursday. So Renee, thank you. When you are in the Columbus area and you want to stop in, hey, please stop in, teach the class, and the rest of us will be a part of it too. So you're welcome anytime. You have an open invitation down here.
Well, it's been fun. It's been a real joy to be with everybody and everybody in the audience. And do you guys have snow?
Oh yes, it's been snow. It started right about the time we started this call.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when you said this is your last winter class, I'm wondering, okay, you're getting out of the snow fast or something. But
no, we have some fun things planned for March virtually, and then hopefully April will be face to face, but you never know.
I know. Well, great. It was nice talking to all of you. Nice talking to your audience. And I certainly hope everybody got something out of my presentation and me being here with you today. I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And thanks for the free time.